Hey everybody, what's going on? Happy Wednesday night. I hope you're having a good one. Wish I had a little bit of a better show to do tonight. If you've seen the thumbnail, obviously you know that there's been quite a few leaks right now. The entire killer reveal for Scream 6 has been leaked online, which sucks beyond belief. Just because, I mean, it sucks for a ton of people. It sucks for the people who made the film. It sucks for the writers. It sucks for fans. It's a shame that we live, and I know it's a part of this digital world we live in right now, where everybody's got to get their 6 seconds of fame. And if you're in a position where you can get that footage, if you're in a position where you can spoil things, I know in this digital age it's the cool thing for people to do that. Unfortunately though, it sucks. And again, you saw the little disclaimer at the bottom, and I'm going to say it again real quick. We're going to be here for about half hour. I'm not going to do a whole long show. As you see, Miguel's not with me tonight. We just actually had episode number 106 last night, so this is kind of, again, an unplanned thing. But just quick disclaimer, I'm just going to go ahead and get this out of the way right now. We will not be discussing leaks for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania or for Scream 6 on this episode. If you leak or spoil the movie for anybody in the chat, I will block you and I will kick you off. Just, like, no exceptions. If J-Dead shows up, J-Dead I'm going to tell him the same exact thing because he's got admin rights. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to spoil this for anybody because it sucks. It already happened to me last night with Ant-Man. I haven't watched the Scream spoiler, which you all, let me start off saying this. You all know I'm not the biggest Scream fan. I have a lot of appreciation for the original film, and I have a lot of appreciation for that franchise, but Scream is not my all-time favorite horror franchise. It's not one that I've ever paid a ton of attention to. Honestly, I kind of want to now, because I think this concept of where they're going with this whole we've seen the Ghostface shrine and the idea of the cult and all that stuff that is being tossed around in the community. I think that's really, really interesting, and it's kind of made me want to go back and revisit them. Maybe we'll do that on Purely and Simply Evil. But with that being said, I'm still a horror fan, and I'm still a movie fan, and I'm still somebody who appreciates shock value and who appreciates the whodunit surprise that the Scream franchise, kind of showcases in a really cool way. And the fact that you can't even get on social media anymore without being spoiled with this stuff just sucks balls. I mean, it's terrible. I was actually scrolling last night. I kind of had half a mind to do an quick episode on this anyways, because before the Scream thing ever happened, Miguel and I did episode 106 last night, finished the stream. It was a fun show. Thanks to everybody that hung out last night. But I got ready for bed, sitting there laying in bed, and I'm scrolling on Twitter. I wasn't even that's the thing, is you don't even have to be seeking it out. You don't even have to be looking at, if you click on the Scream 6 hashtag or the Quantumania hashtag and you're spoiled with something, that's one thing. It shouldn't be there regardless, but that's one thing. But I wasn't even looking for it. That's the thing. I got on Twitter and I'm just sitting there scrolling, everybody scrolls before they go to bed. That's just a thing, even though my wife, who's sitting over here, laughed at me for it and says I shouldn't scroll before I sleep. What? I don't know if you can hear. She said you're not supposed to. But anyways, I'm sitting there scrolling, and I scrolled past both the mid-credit scene and the post-credit scene for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I was just like, what the hell? Why is this so readily available online? Because Ant-Man doesn't even come out until, technically it doesn't even come out until Friday, but of course you get the Thursday night premiere, so I guess really it comes out tomorrow. But Scream 6, we're still a month or so away from that film's release, and we already have the killer reveal. And that's just such a shame. It's like I said, it's such a shame to the studio and to the writers and the producers and the actors and the people that worked really, really hard on those films. It sucks to the fans who devote so much time and energy, not even just into loving the franchise, but I mean, we know this. We've been here before. Look at Spider-Man: No Way Home and the hype train that was built prior to that film coming out. I mean, part of the fun is speculating and talking about rumors and things like that. That that's part of the fun. That's part of what makes the movie going experience so cool, is that idea of, holy crap, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And to have that ruined before you even see the rest of the film, it's just it sucks. It's a real shame to have to do that. But we're here, and like I said, we're not going to talk about it at all. Zero spoilers. I'm just kind of here. We're just going to vent together, because I think there's a lot of frustrated people. I know a lot of content creators are really, really frustrated about this. And I'm sure the studio is frustrated well. Some of them have been taken down, but it's kind of, it's kind of like the Halloween End stuff. If you remember, or even the Halloween Kills thing, which if you think back to when back when we were in our COVID days, when the Halloween Kills trailer images leaked. Well, it wasn't even just images. The entire trailer leaked online a few days before it was supposed to release. I think, if I remember correctly, I think the full Halloween Kills trailer was supposed to drop on a Friday, and I believe the stills and the actual video from somebody's cell phone dropped on a Wednesday or a Thursday or something like that. So I mean, a few full days before the film, before the trailer even released. But I think Universal did a terrible job getting that under control, and I purposely have not been clicking on the Scream 6 hashtag, very much on purpose, because I don't want to sit and watch it. But I have scrolled past it a few times. Again, haven't clicked on it, but it's just it's a shame that you literally can't even get on social media anymore without the fear of something being spoiled for you. And again, Scream 6 isn't quite as big of a deal for me, but the fact that we're here and the fact that we're talking about these things leaking opens up a whole other realm and a whole other discussion. Look at what happened with Black Adam. I know the hierarchy of the DCEU did not change. Sorry, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but it did change, but it didn't change in the way that that The Rock was expecting it to. But even think to Black Adam, the Henry Cavill cameo. It was ruined before. I still haven't seen Black Adam, and that was really the first big thing that was spoiled for me about Black Adam. You're spoiled before you even get a chance to see the film, which is that's a real shame. And the problem with a Scream film is the whole point is that you're trying to figure out who the killer is. That's quite literally the idea of Ghostface and of the Scream franchise. So the fact that has been the fact that that's already out there now, it puts a damper on the entire experience for everybody, and that's a real shame. And it like I said, it's terrible that we're here. It's a part of this digital age, which I don't know. I guess some people would sit there and say it's just a part of it. I think it needs to be cracked down on a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know. I've never been to a press screening, admittedly. I've never been to one. But I don't quite understand why, when you walk into a press screening of a film, whether you're in Hollywood or New York or Chicago or wherever, doesn't matter. I don't get, even at Comic-Con events, you get the video, I remember watching the Avengers Infinity War trailer on somebody's cell phone who obviously looks like they have this action going on here, they're doing that in the seat or something like that. I remember watching the Infinity War trailer days before it released because somebody posted it on Instagram. When Endgame came out, Endgame had been out for maybe it had to have been 7:30, 7:45 on the Thursday night that Avengers Endgame came out. I clicked on Twitter. I clicked on Instagram. First thing I saw when I got on Instagram was Thanos trying to stab Thor with Stormbreaker. Literally the very first thing you see. We live in a world where there's no shock value anymore with this stuff, because the minute that something hits a screen, it's being recorded on somebody's phone. I don't understand why at certain screenings, the same way that you would do a coat check kind of thing, I really don't get why you can't take people's phones. Take people's cell phones before they walk into the theater to watch something. And I know the Scream 6 spoiler, if you have not, I did not click on the video. I haven't watched it, but I've scrolled past it, and it's got the property of Paramount thing on it. It's got the time markers and things like that. Like it's got all that stuff on it. So obviously this is someone who has access to the film, which makes it even worse, because you would think that somebody attached to this who is lucky enough to be working on a film like this, or is lucky enough to be in a position to even be that close to a film, would have the decency and the courtesy to to not do this kind of thing. But unfortunately, here we are. So yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, I saw a minute ago somebody, and I am going to get to your comments. I know there's 11 of you guys in here. Thanks so much for being here. Be sure to leave this one a like. Where was it? Draven, what's up, man? Draven said, I remember the whole Halloween Kills script leaked in 2020. Yeah, but here's the difference, though. And this is the thing that gets me a little fired up. Look, you have the option. I know, like, I knew 100%. Hey, J-Dead, what's up, man? By the way, J-Dead, I said this before, and I'm going to say it again, since you're here, since you're an admin. No spoilers. If anybody is talking spoilers, leaks, anything like that, J-Dead, kick him out. Me and J-Dead are on the, we are on the offensive right now. We are not, we're not tolerating that. But by the way, what you were saying before, Draven. So the difference for me is, when the Halloween Kills script leaked, I actually had an opportunity to read it. It was sent to me by someone else. Well, not directly sent to me, but I had access to it. I'll say that. And I was like, nope. I passed that opportunity. I was like, I don't want to read it. I don't want to. The thing is, if you go on the deep web and you're trying to find spoilers, the thing is, like, again, look at Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. The spoilers were there. If you wanted them, you could get them. Legit. I mean, I was very much aware that if you wanted spoilers for Halloween Ends, they were out there. Not as much for Halloween Ends, but certainly for Halloween Kills. If you wanted it, it was out there. There was no stopping it. 100%. The difference here is, when we're talking about social media, the big difference is that people are literally taking pictures and video of things of what they're seeing on the big screen and plastering those pictures and video on social media. You can't even open Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, especially in Facebook groups. Legitimately, you can't even get in any of those things without being spoiled. And that's a shame. It's a shame that it's that readily available, and that people don't have that much courtesy to just not do those things, you know? And again, that's where I say I hope that studios really stay on top of I hope they stay on top of this. And I know it's difficult. I've seen a few people say, prosecute these people, tax the rich. No, I'm kidding. But like, find these people and do things like that. And I understand some kind of like monetary penalty. I get that. But the problem here is that gets iffy between, like, for example, you don't know what account that originated from. And look at how I get, if you clicked on that Scream 6 hashtag right now on Twitter, there would be so many accounts that have retweeted and liked and shared those posts. You can't sue everybody. You know what I mean? You can't go after everybody. So I understand from a studio perspective. From a fan perspective, I completely understand why. I completely 100% understand why that is really, really crappy and why it's so frustrating. But from a studio perspective, I understand not being able to hit every single person that retweets or shares or saves it onto their phone, whatever. I get it. But I wish they would do a little bit of a better job in taking that stuff down as soon as it hits social media, Especially like it's not like Scream 6 has no marketing. The marketing for this movie has been friggin' sick the entire time. It's the posters and the social media presence has been really, really well done. So it's like I know you can. Like I know Paramount has the means to take these things down and to really stay on top of it. And in some cases, I did see where, it pops up if something's been removed, this content has been removed by the copyright owner, yada, 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 yada. But, and I know it's difficult. I know it's a whole issue in and of itself to try and get that stuff taken down and to try to do that. I understand that it's a whole difficult situation, but it's just a shame. You can choose not to watch trailers. For Halloween Ends, I didn't watch any of the behind the scenes stuff that they were dropping kind of as the marketing was rolling. I purposely didn't watch those things. I purposely didn't seek out spoilers for those films because I didn't want them. I wanted to walk in, for Halloween Kills, I did know some of the spoilers, and I do think that it hindered my experience. I didn't enjoy Halloween Kills as much as I wish I would have. And I purposely stayed very much in the dark with Halloween Ends, and I think it made the experience all the better. So if you can avoid the spoilers, even if you think you want to look at them, I would still recommend and I would still suggest that you try to stay away from them because I think it's going to hinder your experience a little bit more than you might even think that it will. So, but that's my take. I think blatantly posting pictures and video is a dick move. But that's me, and I think other people would maybe disagree with me, but, let me get some of your comments here. John Thompson, would you ever do a live stream where people who got spoiled can talk about it? No, because I can't regulate who has seen spoilers and who has not. I have no way of knowing that. So, and it's that just gets into a whole mess. And no, I would never do that. Plus, I'm somebody who doesn't necessarily want spoilers myself. So I wouldn't be hosting a stream because I don't want to see spoilers anyways. So I probably wouldn't be. Josh Boyd said, Brad is in the house. I am in the house. In fact, I am in a house right now. In case you didn't notice. Josh Boyd said, dude, I've been sent a clip already of Who Done It. Not going to watch, though. These people who spoil things like that are all asshats. I agree. And you don't even have to. That's the thing. You don't even have to get it sent to you. It's not difficult to find. That's what's sad. So, Jaden Hawkins, what's going on, man? Scream 6 leak wrecked my soul. I don't know if you mean the actual leak itself or the fact that it did leak, because I think the fact that it did leak wrecked a lot of people's souls, let alone the actual thing itself, which, again, I don't know. I don't know what the actual thing is. If we're being completely honest, before I see Scream 6, I need to go back and rewatch the rest of them. I do. I've seen 5, but it's been so long since I rewatched the entire franchise. Like, I would have to go back and watch 1 through 5 to really, really be invested in 6. Because it's been a while, but yeah, I have a lot of respect for the franchise, and I have a lot of respect for what Wes Craven did, and I know people love the Scream franchise, but it's never been my absolute favorite. It's never been my thing, but. That's not to say that I think it sucks that this is getting spoiled for people, because I know there's a lot of hardcore fans that, that have a lot of invested in this and are really, really excited, and it is what it is. Josh said, this is why they need to do what Dave Chappelle and other comedians do when putting on a show. Have the audience put their phones in a thing where they can't get it unless they leave the room. That's what I'm saying. Why is it so difficult? Like, you see all these Hall H videos of people at Comic-Con in LA and Chicago and all these places where they're literally people. It looks like they're doing this with their cell phone, and you see everybody, like screaming and going crazy and the thing. Like, if it's that. I don't know why. Do it like a coat check where you get your little tag. They stick a little tag on your phone, a sticky note. They just put something. There has got to be some way. We have figured out how to go to the moon. Like, come on, we could figure out a way to get people their cell phones back at the end of a show. I mean, seriously, it cannot be that difficult. Yeah, Draven said it was dumb to see how The Rock himself even spoiled that cameo. Did he? He might have. I don't know. I just, whatever. John Thompson said, I hate social media. Yeah, I think social media has a lot of positives. I really do. But social media can also be a terrible place as well. Dracula's Nightmare, what's going on? Dracula's Nightmare said, so sad about this. Me too. It's sad that you can't. Gary, you're exactly right. It's sad that spoilers and leaks can't be stopped. They don't ruin the movie for me though, personally, and that's fine. I know people that don't mind spoilers. Miguel is like that. I don't think spoilers really affect Miguel very much. Even for Godzilla versus Kong, we were kind of we've had that conversation before, because if you remember, for Godzilla versus Kong, the Mechagodzilla stuff leaked. We had figured out that there was going to be Mechagodzilla in that film months before it released. But there were also Easter eggs, and there were kind of rumors and all that stuff going on as well. But there wasn't... The toy leak was really the thing that was like, oh, okay, there it is. Which, that's not necessarily under anybody's control. That's a corporate thing, because Walmart and Target and all of those places kind of have those in there. They have to get those out enough to release them when the movie releases too. So that's a whole different issue in and of itself. But and there are people like you, Gary, that it just doesn't affect them very much, and I get that, and I respect that, and that's fine. But you know what I mean? It's hard for the people that don't want them, because that's where I know somebody, John, I think it was you, asked if I would do a stream. You can't, when you're posting on social media, there's no way to regulate who wants to see spoilers, who doesn't see spoilers. You know, there's no way to regulate any of that stuff. So like it's I think for me, it's just better to like leave it alone and not touch it at all. Just don't post, don't take video on your phone, because nobody wants to see your crappy 8-bit video of a spoiler on your cell phone that looks like it's from 2003. Like, nobody wants that. Nobody needs that. That's just not that's not a thing that anybody needs, you know. Thanks for the comment, Gary. John said they might have alternate endings filmed. It could be. I guess that would be a positive thing, is if what leaked was an alternate ending and not the actual ending, although I doubt that. I doubt that at this stage, because I would assume that I don't know if the pictures, I mean, I'm sure it's locked, but I don't know if they're making any last minute edits or changes or anything like that, because they tend to do that up until a film's released. They edit things, and, you know, tiny things, not, I mean, like reshoots or anything massive, but they tend to edit small things up until it's time to distribute and release. And yes, it would, I guess some people may feel relieved if they found out, oh, okay, that was just an alternate ending that leaked. That wasn't the thing. Unfortunately, I don't think that that's the case here. Personally, I don't think that's the case, but so be it. Jaded said, this is just how things are now. It's only going to get worse. I agree, which is unfortunate, but I do agree. I think it's only been worse. I think really this probably started 5 or 6 years ago, when it really started to get bad. But, and again, my biggest issue is the fact that if you want to seek it out, that's one thing. If you purposely go to Reddit and you scour the internet for spoilers to a film, that's its own thing. Whatever. You do you, boo-boo. But when somebody clicks on a social media platform and they're immediately bombarded with pictures of post-credit scenes and reveals and things like that, like it's not even like small things, it's like big plot points from films, you know, when you hop on there and that's the first thing you see without even looking for it. Like I said, I saw the Ant-Man post-credit scene and the mid-credit scenes last night. I wasn't searching for it. I wasn't purposely going for spoilers. And I wasn't even looking at Ant-Man content. Like, literally, I just hopped on the platform, and that was one of the first things I saw when I started scrolling. And I was like, okay, that sucks. Like, that would have been nice to see in the theater this weekend when I go see Quantumania, you know? But Jaded, you're exactly right, man. It is just gonna get worse. Jaded also said he's got his boot loaded and ready, logged and loaded. Zoe Crawford, what's up, man? It's unfortunate, but you just have to be low key on the internet until March 10th. I'm still pumped. Yeah, I am too, and that's true. If you don't want him, if you're fortunate enough and you haven't seen it, just don't, block. I think you can block hashtags. or block certain keywords and things like that on social media. If you don't want to see it, just block Scream 6, block Ant-Man, block Kang, block all those words of any film that you don't want to be spoiled with. Just block that until you finally see the film, and hopefully that should help, you know. Black Ops guy, what's up, man? Are the leaks true, though? I don't know. That's not for me to say. I have no idea, personally. Black Ops guy, let's lure them and execute them. I don't know. If it was Disney, then maybe. If it was Disney, if you spoiled like a major Disney film, I'm sure like Mickey Mouse SWAT team peeps would like dive in your windows and start like killing you and your family. But who knows? That's Disney. Disney's a little bit more hardcore than some other studios. I'm telling you, I was shocked at how much Universal let leak about Halloween Kills and Ends. Which, I shouldn't say about Ends. Ends was much, much, much better. But Halloween Kills was excessive. And I know that also had a lot to do with COVID as well, because that whole year-long break, there was a lot that could have gotten out in that year-long break and things like that. But, you know. By the way, 16 people. I'm only going to stay on for a few more minutes. I just kind of wanted to get on and share my thoughts real briefly about this and kind of see what you guys were saying. 16 people here. Please be sure to leave this episode a like. And again, we do new shows every single week. We've got this show, which is Let's Talk Movies, which I do with my co-host Miguel. He's not here right now. And then we've also got Purely and Simply Evil, if you're new, which is where we take deep dives into classic horror flicks. And that's a whole blasty blast. We're going to do more of that very, very soon. There's been a lot going on. And there's still a lot going on because my wife and I are about to have our first baby. John said, do you think it's possible that it could have been the crew that spoiled it? I don't know. I don't really know who to blame for all of that stuff. I'm not 100% sure, to be completely honest with you. Don't know. Jaded said, you can't sue everybody, but social media platforms could start banning accounts that leak copyrighted property. 100%. And that's where I think the studios and social media platforms need to have a little bit more communication on that thing. There needs to be, like, I was actually looking at this today, and I feel like it's problematic. When you go to report an account, like I've reported accounts for spoilers before, but you have to be careful how it words it, because I don't think, if it doesn't straight up violate like Twitter's code of conduct or whatever, or Instagram's code of conduct, or Facebook's code of conduct, whatever, if it doesn't specifically violate any of those rules, technically I don't know that there's anything they can really do about it, which again, that's where the communication thing needs to come in between the studios and the social media platforms. And these studios need to be like, okay, look, somehow we need to weasel this into your code of conduct that we have copyrighted property that if people steal it and post it all over your platform, we need to be able to get it back. You know what I mean? There needs to be a little bit more leniency there. And I will say, from what I've seen, Twitter is a wild place. I think Twitter allows a lot of things that they probably should not. Again, Twitter's nuts. Twitter's its own planet, and I think there needs to be a little bit more communication between studios and between social media platforms to make sure that those things don't, that this doesn't happen very often, you know. Draven said 4 is underrated, 3 is still doo-doo. Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not. I like the first film. I like the second film. Past that is a little bit of a blur. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's a little bit of a blur past Scream 2. I really would need to go back and watch the rest of those films to be hyped for this, and I will. I'm planning on doing that. Jaded said, I blame Chinese spy balloons for the leaks. I do too. I think that's a good one. Spy balloons and UFOs, man. That's why all these things are leaking so much. Draven said, for me, it depends. Some things I like to go in as spoiler-free as possible. Yeah, I'm starting to tend to not want spoilers. I think speculation is fun. Speculation is fine. That's one thing. Speculation is cool. Like, again, I bring up Spider-Man No Way Home. Look at all of the speculation and the hype train that went into Spider-Man No Way Home. That was so cool. And that was such a... I hope that was such a fun thing for for all of us Spider-Man fans and all of us Marvel fans. That was so cool to be able to sit and speculate on that film. But then again, there were literally pictures of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in their Spider-Man suits that leaked online. So it was like, well, there goes that. Like, you know what I mean? And it was obvious. I mean, it was obvious what they were doing with the multiverse thing. It was obvious that they were going to be in the film. But you always want to skirt that line where you're saying it without really saying it. But again, to blatantly just throw it out there and here it is, like that sucks. Jaded said, spoilers don't bother me personally, but I completely understand how it does ruin it for others. Absolutely, me as well. Josh said it would be cool if at least the leaked whodunit was actually alternate footage added for that screening, as the studio wanting to see what would happen, but doubtful. Yeah, I'm doubtful about that too, but again, who knows? I mean, that's the thing is you can't, even with leaks and rumors, you still have to go into a film taking that with a grain of salt, essentially. I at least I think so. Zoe said favorite goat face. Goat face? Goat face. That's a completely different villain in and of itself, goat faced. I would still say Stu and Billy were my favorite in the original. I think that original film and that original concept is hard to top. It just is. I mean, that film is a love letter to the slasher franchise, and the films that came before it, to Halloween, to Friday, to Elm Street. It's I think they're my two favorite, you know what I mean? And that killer reveal, the way that was done, seeing them stab each other, the whole ending fight scene, it's such a good film. That first one, part of the reason I think the rest of them, I'm kind of whatever about the rest of the franchise is because I like that first film so much that the rest of it's just kind of like it doesn't touch it for me, you know? And I know you could say the same thing about almost any other horror franchise, but I don't know. Again, not my cup of tea. Other people other people love Scream as a franchise so much more than I do, but that's okay. And I am excited, and I have a lot of respect for it. But John Thompson, I think they have planned ahead. They know how spoilers get out. I think they are smarter than this time. Yeah, Miguel and I have actually planned on doing an episode about that, and we've talked about doing it for quite a while, about a year now, kind of talking about this concept of, do studios purposefully leak information? And I do think that they do. 100%. I think studios very meticulously and very purposely let things slide. But this is different. They would never let an image slide. I personally don't think so. There were a lot of people when John Campea released the Spider-Man No Way Home image of Tobey and Andrew and Tom all in their Spider-Man suits standing there at the Statue of Liberty. There were a lot of people that were like, dude, Sony and Disney completely, that was on purpose. That was 1,000% on purpose. And I was like, I don't know about that. That's a little too on the nose. I think for a studio to release little breadcrumbs of things that just build up hype and get fans talking, that's one thing, and I think that's cool. But to full out release a video or pictures of something, I don't know about that. That's a lot. Personally, I think that's a lot. That's kind of nuts. Josh said, I'll be going to see the movie opening night in full costume, minus wearing the mask due to their policy. I even got the exact boots the killer/killers wore in 6 Doc Martens. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I know a lot of people went to the Halloween Ends premiere wearing like the tots, like the Trick or Treat Studios Ends mask, and a lot of people were like, yeah, they made me take it off. Like, which I mean, come on, look at the world we live in. I'm not shocked. I would probably be uncomfortable. And I mean, look, I own 7 of the masks, and I would be uncomfortable if somebody was in an Ends mask sitting there in a theater with me, you know. Nikita, what's going on, Nikita? Nikita said, I knew who the killer in Scream 5 was from the... I apparently can't speak, Nikita. I'm so sorry. I knew who the killer in Scream 5 was from their opening scene itself. That's awesome. I know a lot of people were pretty much like, I nailed it from the get-go, and that's awesome. It's always kind of cool when you can nail the killer right off the bat. John said 4 is severely underrated. Yeah, I need to go back and check this franchise out. 100%, I do. But I'm not going to stay on much longer, guys. I wanted to hop on here, and I just kind of wanted to vent a minute and share my thoughts, because it bothered me last night when I saw the Ant-Man spoilers, and then when the Scream stuff leaked, I was like, I got it. I have to talk about it. I got to, you know. So listen, before I get out of here, please, 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 don't go spoil this movie for anybody else. Don't retweet it. Don't share it on your story. Don't save the video. Just leave it alone. Experience it the way it was meant to be experienced, because a lot of people put a lot of work and a lot of effort into making a really, really cool film that, again, people's opinions are going to differ on the film itself, but into what they think is a good story and a good arc. And it's a franchise that people really respect and revere and love. And I hope that you take the same courtesy that others would give you, or that most others, of course, this is the reason we're here, that most others would give you in not spoiling it for other people. So please don't go share those spoilers. But guys, that's going to do it for me. As J-Dad said, be sure to stab that like button and have a good one. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for hanging. John said, one last comment. He said, thanks for going live because I was about to spiral further on Twitter. Yeah, don't spiral. Twitter's a terrible place to spiral. That's just not a good place to spiral at all. So, guys, thanks so much for hanging tonight. New episodes of Let's Talk Movies and Purely and Simply Evil premiere every single week at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LTM Podcast KY. You can find it on the right-hand corner of your screen. And if you tweet at us, use the hashtag Let's Talk Movies Podcast. Have you too, Josh. He said, have a good one, Bread. Miguel, it's funny that you say it. Miguel actually calls me Bread. He pretty frequently changes the name for me in his phone constantly. But guys, we love you. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. We'd love to hang out with you guys on our weekly streams, and we'll talk to you later, guys. Have a good one. Don't share spoilers. Peace.